Okay, so we understood all about module system in Node.js. In this video, we are going to talk about what are servers, what are routing, what is URL, what is port number, what is localhost, etc. And in this video, we are going to create a very simple server using the Node's core module. And the reason why I am straight away talking about servers and routings, because again I told you that we are going to take a practical approach in learning backend development. Of course, I am going to discuss all about how does this backend development thing work, like how does internet works and how do we fetch data from computer to servers when we type some query. What is the thing that goes behind the scenes? I'm going to discuss about them by using again a presentation. We are going to learn it the presentation way, but I thought that I should give you a very simple overview of how does a server works, and then after that we are going to take a detailed look on all these steps, okay, so that it becomes really clear for us to understand those terminology. Because again, if I don't explain you all of these in layman term, when we will be shifting to advanced topics like Express.js, understanding these may become little tough for you. So I'm again considering all of you as a beginner, so I'm going to talk about everything from a beginner's point of view. Okay, so if you are experienced in backend, you may find it very easy and comfortable. Feel free to skip to Express or wherever you want to jump. Timestamp is already given, right? So yeah, let's talk about servers. So first of all, again I'm going to expand. How do we close all of this? Okay, let's check. Okay, let's close this. I don't know how do we actually close all of this. Come on. Okay, and now I'm going to create a new folder. I'll call it server and server and routing. Very basics of server and routing. And here I'm just going to create a very simple server.js file. Okay, and now we are going to create server. Now to create server, we are going to use the Node's very simple core module HTTP. So here on the documentation it is already mentioned. I have already opened it. So this one, HTTP. And on HTTP, first of all we'll have to require it just as any other Node module. So here we also have this option of ESM, which we cannot use outside of the module system because this is not an npm project. So we are going to use this very simple way of importing any module, which is simply declaring a variable and then requiring it. Okay, so instead of writing it manually, why not we copy this? So we have copied HTTP. Now on HTTP we have a method called as create server. You can see it is automatically suggesting us if we want to use create server. Well, sure we do. Open it like this. So create server is a function on this HTTP object that we get by this require function that is calling node for HTTP module to be used in this server.js file. I'm telling you again. So this create server is a function that is getting accessed on this HTTP object. So a function that is actually a method. Again, what is a method? A method is simply a very simple function inside an object. Okay, so that object is this HTTP that is getting all of its properties from this require function that is indeed in backend calling this HTTP module from node which is already installed in our system. Inside this create server function, we can provide another function. So we can do something like this, but most commonly you will see an anonymous function like this being passed inside this. Now this anonymous function accepts two parameters. One is request and another one is response. And this is very fundamental of a server configuration. Whenever you will talk about server, this request and response will always be subjected to the creation of server. The reason why it is very important for us to understand this request response cycle is that a server is basically a computer that is online 24/7, and the main purpose of a server for being online every time is because it hosts millions of gigabytes of data that needs to be distributed through various channels. So when you make a search when you make a search using any medium on a server, for example, when you make a search on Google like what is the best JavaScript course available out there on internet, surely it should give you the channel name of code block, but I don't know, I haven't tried if it gives it or not. But anyway, it will send you some response. So one, you made the request, server accepted the request and studied the request, and then it sent you a response. So request is sent by you, response is sent by server. So server configuration, always remember request and response cycle. Nevertheless, we are anyway going to talk about request response in the presentation coming up ahead. So let's now go ahead and further configure our server. Now here we have to send something from server, because eventually server, once you hit the server will send you a response that, hey, yes, I got your request, bro. So that you can send using this response object. Okay, so here you can say response. So this response is sent by this create server. So once you hit this create server, using this response object, server will send you a message. So that goes like this. It will say rest.end, and here you can configure a message. I am getting accessed. You can provide any message here. ACCESSED. Okay, I'm getting accessed. And now this is a very simple configuration of server. This is not it. Once you configure a server, you have to listen the server. You have to open a channel where you can listen to this server. How do you do that? For that, you have to host all of this onto a specific variable. So I'm going to cut it. I'm going to create a very simple variable, and I'm going to call it server equals to this. So I'm saying that, hey server.js, this server variable is holding all of the value that is responsible for configuring a very simple server using the Node.js. Okay, now here, once the server is configured, you have to listen the server. So I can say server, and on server we have one object, one method, that is this listen. Now this listen object, this listen method accepts 3 parameter, rather argument, not parameter. Okay, so here one, we can provide the port name. You can ask me what is a port name. Well, port name or port ID is a simple channel which keeps listening for your request and response. For example, if you want to come to India by for example United States of America, there is always trade happening, right? So if you want to send something from US to India, then a ship from USA will start coming, and probably it will come through the Suez Canal if it is not blocked. Otherwise it will have to go all the way through Cape of Good Hope and then come to the Indian Ocean territory. So then ship will have to dock somewhere. Now where does the ship dock? It's port. If port is free, ship can dock, and if port is not free, ship will access another port. So this is very simple port. So here you have to assign, configure, just understand this server as a ship, and this ship needs a port to operate. So here you can provide a port ID. So I will say, hey ship, I'm giving you the port ID of 8000. Local is 3000, common is 3000. So let's provide 3000. So I'm saying that, hey server, you can listen for all incoming requests and responses on this channel number 3000. So port number 3000. Okay, so this is the port that you think is free, and you are assigning the server to operate all of its request response cycle on this 3000 port ID. And then you provide the host name. What is the host name? Very simple, localhost. So you can skip it, but I will always suggest you to provide it. So the localhost of all computer around the world is 127.0.0.1. And now you can also send an optional message that will trigger a very simple console.log that will say server is listening on port 3000. Okay, eventually what you can do is you can also do this const port equals to 3000. You can assign this port, and instead of calling this manually, you can refer it. So port, and here you can use the template string. So like this. Okay, and let's delete this one, and let's use this port variable. Okay, So now you can change the port and this statement will update itself. Okay, now if I save this, by default nothing is going to happen, so we'll have to execute this server.js. So first of all we have to move to another file, so cd 02, well we are inside all about modules, so cd space dot dot, and now we are in the root directory. So from here we have to go to cd 02, hit tab to autocomplete, ls to get all the files, and now you can say node server.js. The moment I will hit it, you'll get a message, server is listening on port 3000. So how do you see this message? So let's now hit our server. So here you can say 127.0.0.1 because this is the localhost address and the port name is 3000. Hit enter and now you'll get the message, I am getting accessed. So this is coming from the server. Meanwhile, just try to make sure to use this as well. So localhost one time, because localhost is just 127.0.0.1. okay, so even if you say localhost colon 3000, it will give you the same result. Okay, so localhost colon 3000 is commonly what we use, because again typing 127.0.0.1 is kind of cumbersome, at least for me. So I will use localhost colon 3000, hit enter, I am getting access. Okay, now let me prove you that you can change the port name. Now you can say that, hey ship 3000 is busy. For example, a ship coming from Brazil, you can say that, hey wait, Rio de Janeiro, this port is not available. If the ship from Brazil that is coming to the Jawaharlal Nehru port of India, if it wants to dock to this 3000 channel ID, this server is already configured on this 3000, so this 3000 channel is not free. So you can say that please dock on 8000 channel. So now this channel, this ship from Brazil will host all of their request response on this 8000. So again I have to shut it down, because each time you make a difference, each time you make an update to the file, you need to restart the server. Well, this is manually done, but we have a tool that can do it for us automatically, and I'm sure most of you would be knowing about that. We will set that up when we learn about Express. For now I like to keep doing like this. Okay, so now I'm restarting it again, and now if I go to 3000, hit enter, no error, because on 3000 we have no incoming request, it is busy. So if I say 8000, I am getting accessed. Okay, so you can see now the ship that is coming from Brazil is hosted on 8000 port ID. So this is a very simple server. This is the same thing that happens to every of the website, no matter how big it is, Facebook, Google, Twitter, x.com, Reddit, everything, every website is simply configured like this. You send a request and in return it sends you a response. You like a post, it responds you by quickly updating the UI to the likable post. Like when you click the like button, it quickly updates it, right? So that is the response that is sending you. Now earlier in the days when you used to like something, then the page used to reload, because then we had very simple, we did not have any framework like React or Angular. Nowadays we use React that has virtual DOM, so it quickly updates the UI itself, so we do not see those reloading icon going on and on. Okay, but again that is something that we'll learn in React.js. For now let's stick to backend development. So this is a very simple configuration of server. Now after server we also need to understand routing. How about routing, bro? How can we miss routing? So first of all, let me explain you what is routing. So here if I go to nodejs.org, it will give me every data that is hosted on this nodejs.org/English. So this /English is the route that is redirecting us to this web page. If I go to about, now you can see that the route is /English/about. If I go to download, now our route is /English/download/package manager. If I go to blog, our route is /English/blog. So this is routing. We have created one specific route for specific pages. So this is very simple routing. So let's now try to implement something like this to understand more about routing. So routing is the process of channelizing multiple page requests on a same server. Let's now understand routing by implementing it practically. So now I want to develop a website. I will probably say mysocial.com. And when I go to mysocial.com, well, is it a domain? Well, what am I doing? Am I accessing it? No, I don't want to access. Rather, I want to develop a website of my own. So first of all, here we are going to create multiple routes, right? For that, we need help of another Node's core module that is called as URL. By the way, I am one zoom level back, because this one was quite taking space and all of the code was not visible. So I decided to go one step back. Okay. So I'm sure I'm expecting the screen to be very visible. Nevertheless, after this module, we are again going to switch back to this zoom level, or I will adjust the code so that it will fit perfectly in your mobile device if you are watching it on your mobile device. Okay. Now here, on this URL, first of all, not here, but routing should always be inside this. Okay. So here, first of all, let's do this. Let's make a request on this URL itself. So what does this URL give us back? So if I say console.log request.url, let's execute this server. What does it give us? We need to hit this server, not on this route, but here. Okay, I'm getting accessed. It is giving us this home route and then favicon.ico. Do not worry about this favicon. This favicon is this very simple icon that you are seeing here. Okay, so that is favicon, and this is the home page of our website. So here now we can implement routing. To implement routing, we need to access the path name. So path name can be called like this: path name equals to request.url. Okay, like this. Now this path name is this one, so home page, and this one. Okay, so this request.url gives us the exact path of a heated route. So if I hit the route on /overview, if I hit it, now you will see that our path is /overview and then /favicon.ico. well, this favicon-ico will always be there. Okay, so now you just have to worry about this overview. So if you again say overview / maybe page 1, page 2, now our path will be overview /page 2. Okay, now to create routings, now all we have to do is write few if else statements. So here you can say if path name equals, we are checking for a strict equality operator, this one home page. Here you can say rest.end. Here you can send a message of welcome to mysocial.com. okay, and then again you can have multiple route path. You can say else if path name is equals to user, then you can say, let's copy this one, welcome to your user profile. Okay, like this. Okay, so now let's test this too. Control-C to shut the server, restart again, and now if I go to colon 8000, hit enter, welcome to mysocial.com, and if I go to /user, you will see welcome to user. Internet connection is slow, that's why it is taking little time to load, but it should have been fast. Okay, now it is here. You can see what is this. Oh, this should have been, see, this URL is this preloader is hanging in the middle because I made a very silly mistake. I forget to implement this / here. So whenever you try to implement routing, be specific, because pages are bisected with this /. So / is the median between your domain name and your different pages. So I had to go to user, rather I just instead I just wrote this user. So that's why it is hanging in the middle. Okay, so no, it was error on my part, /user. Let's set the server again and command K to clear, and let's now execute this server again. Okay, and now if I hit reload, Now I will I will say welcome to your user profile. Okay, so another way, again we can say else if path name equals slash contact us, then again you can say welcome to privacy policy. Okay, privacy policy. So this is how you develop multiple paths of your website. Okay, on contact us you can also say privacy policy and contact us maybe. Okay, now let's start the server again, and you know what is going to happen. Very simple. If you try to go to slash contact us, welcome to privacy policy and contact us. Now the same thing is happening here as well. On this page you are getting this blog. If you go to download, you get this download page. If you go to about /about, you get this about. If you go to learn, you get this learn page. Okay, so this is very simple routing. What did I do? Okay, so this is hyperlink, jumping from one link to another. Okay, so this is routing. Now what if a page is not found? In that case you can always write else. So here you can just say rest.end if in case the search term did not matched. For example, if I say random, okay, then you'll see that again our preloader is just hanging right there without giving us any response. In that case, to catch that bad request, here you can always say that else if none of this match, then else you can say bad request URL or page not found. Okay, page not found. Save this, shut the server, and here you can also send the write head. So rest.write head simply is the request that you are sending. So for a bad request page not found, the request that you are sending is always 404. So if you save this again, if you execute this server, if you again now hit it, you'll see bad request page not found. Now where can you see this 404 request being hinted? So right click, inspect to go to developer console. From here go to network and now hit reload. Now you can see we are getting this status of 404 of bad request. Similarly, if you go to console, you will still see it. See, it says 404 not found because we haven't implement any route to catch this request. Okay, so this is very simple routing. Now always remember that these response should always come before the final rest.end. You cannot do this. You cannot send the write head right here. No. If you try to do this, why not? Let's try to do this. And now if you reload, certainly bad request page not found, but again you are not seeing any 404, you are saying 200, which means status is okay, everything did work. So if everything worked, then what is the reason of sending this write head itself? So if anything is wrong, if anything is not a proper request, then send a proper header response using this 404 status code that should always come before the final end request. Okay, so this is very simple routing. Now again, just relax. I'm talking about all of this from a beginner's point of view. When we are going to talk about Express, we are going to revisit all of this again, and routing is a very complex process, by the way. See, for example, if we have to develop something like this documentation website for Node.js, we will end up having multiple if and else if requests, like if path name is this mysocialmedia.com, else if, and a website can consist of hundreds of routes. Do you think it is possible for us, or it is like a well thing for us to create routing this way? No, like it will lead to dry code, like it will cumbersome your server.js very quickly because you will end up having 100 else if requests. Okay, so for this we are going to use one very amazing framework that is called as Express.js. It helps us to enhance the capability of Node.js. Okay, so yeah, next we are going to understand about few terminologies. We are going to see presentations, we'll understand how internet works, how backend works, and after that we are going to talk about Express.js. Okay, so with all of that, I'm going to see you in the next one, and if you haven't subscribed, What are you waiting for? Okay, see you in the next one.